My name is Jace Lasek. I play in the band Besnard Lakes. I'm a musician, producer, recording engineer living in Montreal, Canada, Quebec. I don't know how you'd describe what we do. I think people have a really difficult time putting their finger on what we're up to. People have basically run the whole gamut of music history, talking about rock and roll anyways, what we're up to. Montreal's got this really rich experimental music scene, and when we first started out, we've always loved pop music, we've always loved rock and roll, but we wanted to have that element of experimentalism. We always thought that it was really important to, always be pushing music forward in that sense. So I think it was, we sort of felt like it was, since we lived here, it was kind of our duty to, kind of carry on the tradition of trying to push music forward and, be bold and experimental about it. I grew up in Regina, Saskatchewan, and I went to school in Regina for a few years, and then I ended up going to art school in Vancouver. I went to Emily Carr. I met my wife Olga in Vancouver, and we had talked about where we were going to go because our plan was to make music. So along with me and another friend of ours, we're going to start a recording studio. The only other two places we thought that we could go were, Vancouver was out of the question, and so it was either Toronto or Montreal, and we didn't really want to go to Toronto, so we were like, let's try Montreal. We hear it's really cheap, we hear it's really cool, and we moved here and we fell in love with it, so we've been here ever since. The Anglophone scene, when I came here, it was a very small pocket of people, and since we were all figuring out Montreal and figuring out the language, and we all sort of came together. So a lot of the bands that came out of here who are Anglo, we all sort of know each other because we all sort of came up in this very small community, this very small pocket, as we were all sort of trying to figure out, the ins and outs of the city. I don't really get nervous anymore playing on stage. I used to. But I think now I'm at the point now where I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun. It has a lot to do with feeding off the crowd. If I feel like the crowd is really into it, it just makes the show so much more enjoyable. And just seeing smiles on people's faces and their eyes closed while we're playing a song is that's unforgettable.